All right, in today's video, I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of analyzing the markets, I'm going to show you the correct way to trade leverage. Unfortunately, the most traders, especially retail traders, they want to use leverage to get rich quick. And more often than not, the end result is they get poor quick. I recently did a webinar for subscribers to the newsletter where I cover how to use options and the correct strategy for using options so that you don't risk blowing up your account. So the first rule that I stress for anyone using leverage, whether it be leveraged ETFs or probably for most people it's options, rule number one is don't bet more than you are willing to lose. Rule number two, see rule number one. The mistake most traders make is they take way too large of positions, or they bet their entire portfolio on an options trade. They think they know where the market is going, and then they don't buy enough time, or they don't allow for the market to turn sideways for several weeks before the move starts, or they just get it wrong, and then they end up blowing out their account. There is a correct, and of course that would be the incorrect way to trade leverage, would be to bet your entire portfolio. There is a correct way to use leverage, and I'll go over that, or I do go over that extensively in the video. Just a quick summary though, the correct way to use leverage is you start with an amount that is small enough that you are willing to honor rule number one. If it's a losing trade and you lose all of it, it's not going to be devastating. It won't blow out your total portfolio, and you will be able to recapitalize and try again. So the goal is to try and score a series of winning trades and build a small amount into a large amount. So for instance, let's say you start with $10,000, and that's an amount that you are completely willing to lose. If you do, it's not going to hurt you, and then you can go in and put another $10,000 into your account and try again. If that's too much, if $1,000 is your pain level, then you start with $1,000. And then let's say you get 2 or 3 winning trades under your belt, and you've turned your 10,000 into say 20 or 30,000. Well, then you would just take your 10,000, your initial stake, you'll take it back out, and now you're playing with house money. So you have no risk of losing your initial investment. Your risk is now just that you might lose your profits. And I detail in the webinar how to avoid that, because at some point you will have a losing trade. You'll either just get the direction wrong, or you won't buy enough time. The market will chop sideways for too long before moving, or it's just too volatile and it knocks you out. But I go over all of this in the webinar. So for anybody that wants to learn more on how to use options and use them correctly so you don't blow up your portfolio, that webinar is going to be available for the next month. For any new subscribers, I will offer a $10 off your first month's subscription. Just click the link in the YouTube or in the description below. That'll take you to the SMT website, and you can sign up for a 1-month subscription. I'll refund $10 back to your credit card. So here's an example. This is my personal account, and this is how I trade the markets. I trade only with options, and as I said, I start small and I try and build big. So here's where my account started, actually the end of September. So this has been just a little over a month. I started with $12,000. I made 3 trades in USO because oil was trending, and I built my $12,000 into a little over $20,000. And then at that point, the stock market put in an intermediate bottom, and usually those stocks trend pretty aggressively coming out of an intermediate bottom. So this was a perfect time to switch over from oil, which was nearing that resistance zone at $85, switch over and start trading stocks as it came out of that intermediate cycle low. And as we know, the stock market did trend strongly. And so that initial stake that started out at $12,000 when I closed out my last trade, that had turned into $111,000. And I'm not done yet. I've placed another trade that is working. I just needed to convert this to a little bit later expiration date because we're starting to get a little close. And again, I go over all of that details of when to roll your options out, and whether to swing for the fences with more leverage or be more cautious with deeper in the money options. All of that is covered in the webinar. So if you're interested in getting the webinar, learning more about options, you can sign up for a subscription to the SMT newsletter. Get a discount for your first month, and then you can just email me directly once you're signed up, and I can get you set up to purchase the options webinar if that's what you're interested in.